Last image. This image was an accident. A friend, I had this tall ladder. I said, let's go down to the ocean, put the ladder in the ocean. You climb up it and jump off, and we'll, just play. Photographers do that. And he was up there with this red umbrella, and the umbrella dropped. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's the image, But again, this is more just kind of showing you, giving you encouragement and boost that this is the original file, and you're like, oh, that was the image. You open it up. Oh, man, I thought it was so beautiful and the ocean was so perfect. And so the workflow, if we zoom in on our floating umbrella here, is retouching. It's not rocket science, people. It's clone stamp tool. It's healing brush. Just eat, little details, patience, right? But those things need to happen first. Then the umbrella had this bright white spot over here, so that was just filling in with color. Make a selection, clone in something else. Really easy work. And then finally, the color tuning. The color tuning, I always think is really important. I added more, then I took a little back, and I took a little back, and then it has a little bit of this muted color palette, and you get a feel for that image. And with this type of workflow and with your own work is always asking yourself, what is it you want to communicate? What do you want to convey? Then how can you use what I'm calling, and I hope you guys agree with this, relatively simple steps. Nothing in here is like, oh my gosh, like even this image, that guy's amazing. No, it's like I did cloning and healing and basically a couple color adjustments. But it's a cool image, right? And it's bringing the best out of it. It's seeing that through and being committed to that. All right, well, that officially wraps what I have to say. Is there anything else?
Absolutely. Grab a mic if you heard.
From anyone else?
In the back row, go ahead.
I've got a question, Chris.
Yes.
That is, do you follow a specific sequence or checklist in your processing steps? Do you crop first and then adjust the color temperature and then go on to the hues, or
yeah,
do you alter that up?
Like putting it together, the workflow, which is a great question, because a lot of what I'm doing is jumping around. So yeah, what I tend to do is I'll do some really rough basic adjustments to try to figure out if the image is even going to work, whether is my exposure close enough or something like that, just to try to get it there. And then I do get into composition, and I consider that a real stage, not a task, and try to say, what's going on with this image. Like the umbrella shot didn't need that. I liked the openness and the space of that. And then after that, I'm listening to my gut and trying to figure out, if it's going somewhere. And then I begin to experiment and test with those different things we did next. So a little bit of basic composition, almost a better word than composing or than cropping. Because think of composition like a musician. He's like composing the song, And most people are like, yeah, I cropped it, and I took that off, and it's fine. I'm like, no, look, you can't do that. That's like, so.
So in addition to workflow, question is, does the order of the adjustment layers affect the overall image? That's back when we were in Photoshop.
Yeah, the order, I think it does, maybe in the sense of getting the small detail work done first. Because even if there's a blemish on someone's face and you take a blue color, then that blemish turns a little bit blue, and that won't look good. But it's okay if her hair turned blue, but not the blemish. So I think the order is getting some of those things taken care of, and then having fun with the color. As far as the stacking order of that one with a lot of layers, that was more just fun, and just trying to say, well, let's have fun with it. What could I do with the color? And what could I do with the color that I can't do in Lightroom? Because Lightroom, I couldn't have done that. There's no way. And the image would have looked like a digital photograph. But that one, you couldn't quite place it. And so, so I think it matters just from, not that there's a wrong, it just matters from intent.
Great, thank you.
Yeah.
That's been kind of the theme here, right?
Yes, intent. It has been the theme, yeah.
Okay,
bringing back some intent into what we're doing.
One more question from Wendy, since you do teach a lot of students.
Yes.
If we are just starting out with all of these new skills that we're learning, are we better off choosing one photo and practicing all of these things that we've been learning on that image, or should we be using multiple images? What's kind of your theory of how to take all these tools and the best way to learn?
Yeah, and I'll add a couple things to that as well. One is getting feedback is huge. Critique is huge. Having taught at a photography school, the thing that I've seen make students really, really excel is when they get feedback. what tends to happen is people will send me images, which is really fun, but they'll say, hey, what do you think? I'm like, I don't know, because I need to know, like, what's the intent? Is this supposed to be flattering? Is it supposed to be moody and dark? Is it for a fine art gallery? Is it for doing corporate photography? Because if it's like fine art, but it looks like corporate, then I can talk about that. And so getting feedback, but soliciting it with intent, meaning I want to create portraits that are more timeless and powerful, and you feel this deep, soulful connection with the person. And then I'm like, great, we can talk about that. Your post-production, you're so close, what if you did that? So coming up with ways to solicit feedback is really important. Friends, family, whoever, it doesn't matter. Or I want images that are more believable or more surreal or whatever it is. So do that. And then the second thing I think with working on images is the fastest way to get good at photography. This is like the secret of secrets. Are you ready for it? Yes. You have to love, love, love the photograph you're working with. So for example, I really wanted to photograph Kelly Slater. I think I showed one image before. It took me years, to get to know him and to do all, and then finally I get my portrait. So when I'm doing retouching on that image, it really, really matters. But if it was like, oh, you're a stand-in model, snap, then I'm kind of like, well, I don't know, like, okay, that's fine or whatever, because I'm not committed there. And so my thing is to find a way to be committed to the work. Is one image enough? No. I mean, you have to find more commitments. And part of that is the secret. I was talking with Steve McCurry once, a famous photographer, about photography, and he said, most people say they want to be better photographers, but they really don't. They just want to go watch their football games. I was like, whoa, that's kind of a strong statement. But what he was saying is that we like the idea of photography, but not the art and the act and the fight of getting there. And he said to get good at photography, if you like football, it's to photograph football. So it's to find a way to blend those two things together, because I don't like football. And if I go and shoot that and try to work on my images, I'm kind of like, well, I don't like it anyway. I'll make it good, but it's never, I don't have the connection. So again, anyone listening, or you guys as well, try to figure out how to do more of that. And I've seen too many students lose their passion for photography because they were shooting stuff that didn't mean anything to them. And so trying to add meaning, even if it's like, my dad's meaningful, I'm going to shoot him. Or this tree in my backyard I grew up with, I'm going to shoot that. Even if the world doesn't think it's interesting, because the more particular you can be, the more idiosyncratic, the more you can be, the greater the chance that it will mean something to other people.